Hi, welcome back to my channel, Open the Door. This is episode 26. Let's unlock your righteous anger. You ever felt so mad you could just spit nails? Yeah, me too. But what's the difference between righteous anger and just being angry? So that's what I want to talk about. Also, these aspects. Can forgiveness and righteous anger coexist? What about righteous anger and compassion? Humility, wisdom, courage, integrity. Can you have righteous anger and still have these qualities? Yeah, you can. And I'm going to talk about that right now. First, the difference between righteous anger and just being angry. So they're both rooted in the emotional response, but righteous anger is considered more justified and constructive because righteous anger stems from a sense of violation of moral principles. And it comes from a feeling of outrage when there's been injustice and wrongdoing toward another or a group of people. Righteous anger directed toward actions or situations that are considered objectively wrong can be considered in a sense a moral duty to defend injustice. And as long as the righteous anger stays rooted in the principles of fairness and justice, it's considered morally right. But anger is a natural human emotion and can be a reaction to any number of stimuli: frustration, disappointment, feeling slighted. But it's not necessarily rooted in moral principles. And in that note I just made, that has to do with more of just being angry in general and not so much righteous anger. Another aspect of just regular anger, let's call it, would be it stems from a sense of personal offense or harm. So the key distinction between the two lies in the underlying cause and justification for the anger. So getting back to the question I asked at the beginning, can righteous anger and forgiveness coexist? Well, yes, they can. One can feel justified in their anger while still choosing to forgive. We recognize that holding anger can be detrimental to our well-being, while forgiveness leads to healing. But righteous anger, as I said, arises from a sense of moral outrage or an injustice. And forgiveness involves letting go of resentment and a desire for revenge. Moving on next to compassion. Righteous anger and compassion, how are they related? Well, compassion associated with righteous anger often stems from a deep sense of empathy for those who are suffering or marginalized, and it reflects a commitment to standing up for the rights and the well-being of others. Righteous anger and humility. Well, humility can be associated with righteous anger because the humility recognizes our own limitations and biases and helps us to remain humble, while it fosters in us an open mind and empathy and a willingness to listen to diverse perspectives. Wisdom and righteous anger. Wisdom helps to guide our actions and responses by using a thoughtful and discerning approach to understanding the injustice and determining the most appropriate way to address it. That's a pretty big aspect, and something that's pretty important when it comes to righteous anger is using your wisdom. But a lot of times when we're feeling this righteous anger and wanting to take action, it's going to take some courage. So to confront injustice and advocate for change, especially in the face of adversity, it does take courage. And if you feel called to do so, then move through your fear and move forward with confidence and courage. Integrity and righteous anger would involve holding true to our values and principles even in the face of opposition. And this is probably the number one key aspect of righteous anger. The underlying cause of your anger is going to determine whether that's just everyday anger where you've been personally offended, or is it a bigger issue, maybe a societal issue, a cultural issue. So if you find yourself feeling this righteous anger and called to take action, here's how to express righteous anger. Identify the injustice. Clearly articulate what specific actions or situations have triggered your anger and why you consider it unjust and morally wrong. So identify the injustice. And then validate your emotions. Recognize that you're feeling angry about injustice and acknowledge the fact that that is a natural response. The next step would be to communicate clearly. Express anger assertively without resorting to aggression. And focus on the issue, not the person. So direct your anger toward actions or situations and avoid personal attacks or insults on any individuals. And this is important. Use I sentences that include the word because. So here's some examples of how to do that, because by using I and because, it's a powerful and valid way to express our feelings and opinions and taking ownership of how we feel. So here's some examples of the I and because type sentences. I am deeply troubled by the lack of action on climate change because it threatens the well-being of future generations and the planet. Here's a couple more. I feel frustrated when policies prioritize profit over the well-being of marginalized communities because it perpetuates systematic injustice. I'll give you one more. I have several here, but I'm going to just do a couple. I think you get the gist. I am upset when people exploit vulnerable individuals for their own gain because it undermines basic human rights and dignity. So I sentences with the because in there. So in close, righteous anger is important because it serves as a catalyst for positive change and injustice in society. It motivates people to speak out against the injustices and advocate for fairness and work towards addressing systematic issues, hopefully improving our society overall. So I had planned on doing an episode called The Power of Words, which I've begun to record twice now, and I'm getting stuck in my words. So I decided to record this one instead. I may rework that episode, and I may just not do that and skip on to some what I feel are more important topics. But this is our lesson for today on righteous anger. And I thank you for joining me. As always, I do appreciate the support, and I wish you peace, love, and light. I truly hope you're doing well. And I'll see you again soon. So take good care. Bye for now.